Cash that check. Cash that check. Now is the time for the American government to repair, to cash that check, that rubber check that we've been given. When Black people wrote the Constitution, let me give you a few examples. When our so-called founding fathers wrote, the founding fathers wrote the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, they didn't mean we were all independent. Girl, you ain't been voting since how long? When we were fighting even at the Civil War, well after we'd been established as a country, women still didn't have the right to vote, nor did Black people. So when I say cash that check, it means that Black people wrote that into the Constitution. Dred Scott, that Black people couldn't be citizens. The 13th and 14th Amendment were created because of us. We wrote the Constitution. Cash that check. Civil rights was horrible. And by that I mean it took people standing up for their rights in order for their same rights that had been articulated from the very beginning to be applied more universally. I say more, but not completely, because we made progress, but we're still nowhere near where we need to be. Cash that check. We gave you the language of civil rights, civil and human rights. The world now talks about that. We put that in the Constitution. We wrote the Constitution. Cash that check. And finally, when we talk about redlining, we talk about the connection between real estate racism and education. And then once you ghettoize people, you over-police them and you create an entire prison industrial complex to house them and cash in on them. And now you want to legalize marijuana? What about all those petty drug dealers or even petty drug users that got swept up into the system? 1, 2, 3 strikes. And you could lose your life for something that they have 10 Netflix specials about, some cute white woman doing. Weeds and this and that and the other. Cash that check. And then, of course, there is the original sin. The original bounced rubber check. 40 acres and a mule. Do you know that there was actually a little bit of effort, just a little bit, to give former slaves land, 40 acres and a mule, go settle it. And do you know that president that y'all like to champion, that 45 champions during Reconstruction, the one that came right after Lincoln, do you know that he literally took the land back? He literally evicted people, had federal troops evict former slaves who were given 40 acres and a mule by the government, took it back. Now, you guys are smart enough to calculate the value in today's terms, how it would have accrued, how many lives were impacted by not having just that bit of seed money to start our lives, saying that we could be landless peasants in a country that we had to fight to make our own, where we've been in since its inception, that we had to literally share crops on land that we'd formerly been slaves on. Cash that check. Cash that check. Reparations now. Why? Because Black Lives Matter.